Politics. I want to bring in our panel. I'm the American Spectator, contributing editor and former advisor to the Reagan White House, Jeffrey Lord. Also joining us, Executive Director of America First Works, Ashley Hayek. I'd also like to bring in our special guest for the day, Gerard Filitti. Ashley, I want to start with you. We've heard Biden say this before. We heard it during the Obama years about all those shovel-ready projects that a lot of them didn't quite materialize. They keep on talking about infrastructure, but why do we need to wait for something to blow up in order for something to get done here?
Well, first of all, I just want to say Happy Father's Day to the dads out there, because we do recognize dads as being an integral part of our families. But if I were Joe Biden, I would not be running on an infrastructure record. If you look at what happened in Palestine, Ohio, you look at what happened on the 95, that is not really a record. If you remember when all of the airports and airlines had to shut down because of bad technology, that's not really something that I would be touting as a record. You know, when he was also campaigning, he campaigned with Randy Weingarten, a woman who masked our kids, who kept them out of schools, who wants to indoctrinate and sexualize our children. I just don't see what record this man has to run on in this upcoming election, but I hope he keeps speaking up because it allows for us to show how incapable he is of leading this country.
I would just want to be fair. I mean, the I-95 collapse was not Joe Biden's fault, but the fact of the matter is that he's out there saying, we're going to get this done, Jeffrey. We're going to get this done in record time. He's saying that they're going to expedite the process, but why not expedite the process for other projects?
Well, that's right. You know, I have a hard time remembering when transportation was an issue in this country, but it has become an issue in the Biden administration. The Secretary of Transportation, plainly put, has no idea what he's doing. He had no experience in this. They gave him this job to, pay off a political promise, I guess. And they've had all these problems with airports and airplanes and air travel, et cetera. You're right. This explosion was not Joe Biden's fault, but cleaning it up is his responsibility. And doing it rapidly and doing it well is something that he is going to be charged with here. Not to mention that when I filled up my tank the other day, I was paying almost $4 a gallon.
That's right.
For gas. That's his responsibility, too. So all of this taken together, the American people are on the receiving end of this, and they'll hold him accountable.
Look, I have no doubt, Gerard, that they can do this, that they can rebuild that road in 3 weeks, 2 months, whatever it's going to be. I have every confidence that when the government actually decides to tear down all the roadblocks, they're actually going to do it. In 1994, the earthquake in Santa Monica caused massive infrastructure damage. It was anticipated that it could take 2 years to repair, but it took less than 3 months. So it can be done. But why do we have to wait for a disaster in order for the government to start moving these projects at more appropriate speed?
Well, despite what President Biden has said, it's simply not a priority. It's more sexy to be involved with other things, which are social issues, than to invest heavily in developing the infrastructure. You're absolutely right. This could be done quickly. The Army Corps of Engineers is outstanding. We have private contractors who are exceptional. But this only happens when you have a key issue that, in an election year. Otherwise, you're seeing investment of time and resources on social issues, not infrastructure.
Ashley, President Trump talked about breaking down a lot of those regulations, a lot of those barriers. He's a builder. He used to say, why does it take 10 years to build a road? Why does it take 15 years to advance a project? Republicans have carried that message actually for quite some time, but we don't seem to get a lot of movement on that.
Yeah, I think President Trump did a good job of, deregulating. And I think that at America First Policy Institute, that is a group that's looking at what can be done to take down the red tape. But, let's be very clear. The reason that they don't want to move projects along quicker during the year is because why? Why, when the unions can continue to pocket tens of thousands of dollars, let's make a project take longer. Let's shut down the roads. Let's have longer hours. Let's take, more taxpayer money. They have no incentive to work faster as a private business does. And so that's where I think moving in the next administration, when we do have somebody who believes in capitalism and deregulation and practical business sense, that we will be able to have more reforms that peel back regulation and red tape.
Jeffrey Lord, exit question to you. Yesterday, President Biden had his first campaign event of the 2024 cycle. He claimed that he had created some 13 million jobs. The day after he ended a speech bizarrely with "God Save the Queen." You've been out there on the campaign trail. First of all, your reaction to the 13 million jobs claim, and what kind of campaign we would expect to see from the oldest man ever to run for president and for a second term.
Well, I can tell you, as somebody who worked for President Reagan, somewhere he's chuckling at this claim. He was far, far, far above Joe Biden when it came to this. I think he was into the 20 million area or close to it. So, I mean, when you've got a lemon, you make lemonade, I suppose. That's what's going on here with Joe Biden. But people are going to hold him to account for all of this, whether it's jobs or transportation or what have you. One of my early jobs in life was working for a congressman from Pennsylvania, and sadly I went to his funeral the other week, former Congressman Bud Schuster. He was the head of the Transportation Committee. And one of the things that was noted repeatedly at his funeral by colleagues and others was how much of a role he played in getting infrastructure in this country built. Highways, bridges, I mean, on and on and on went the list. And Bud Schuster was on the job. We just don't have a president like that.
Yeah. Well, of course, the money is only one piece of it. And I think that's one of the things that we brought out in our conversation here. There have to be other ways to try to move that money and make sure that that money is spent wisely and quickly so that we can rebuild our infrastructure. Okay, Jeffrey Lord, Ashley Hayek, thank you so much for being with us. Gerard, stay with me. And we have a lot more coming up on Sunday Report. Keep it right here on Newsmax.